As you can see, it's just, a money grab. General damages in the sums of 10 million. Special damages in the sum of 10 million. Punitive damages in the sum of 20 million. Statutory penalties in the sum of excess of 10 million. Declamations of rights set up before. So this is just a money grab, folks. And look, the Busby Law Firm, the same people that got ran out of New York. My name is Tommy Springfield.
And I'm better than you!
And on this channel, I present you with the facts. I give you my opinion on those facts. And if you like how I do that, click that like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, click all, so you can get notifications every time I drop one of these videos. Maybe you've been here before, maybe you new.
Allow me to reintroduce myself.
I like to think of myself as a superhero, but the ghetto kind. Like Batman, I'm Batman. I live in the Bat Cave, I drive a Batmobile, and I promise you, I'm that nigga. If you just push play on this video, your view, your time, and your energy is much appreciated. But I must forewarn you, you did not just tune into your local news. You tuned into your local Negro news.
What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about, Willis?
Oh my God, he said the N-word. And what does that mean? It simply means...
My boy, it's gonna be legend! Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it.
Wait for it.
Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it.
Wait for it.
Wait for it.
Wait for it.
Wait for it.
Wait for it. Wait for it. Keep waiting. Wait for it. Here it comes. Almost there. Dairy. Legendary.
It simply means this is my ignorant opinion on what's going on in the world today. Which leads us to today's video. A video I hate to do. Pro Bowler, Pro Football Hall of Famer Shannon Sharpe accused of sexual assault in lawsuit. The football great, TV analyst, and podcast denied any wrongdoing and said he only had consensual sex with the plaintiff. I hate these videos. I normally stay away from these videos, but this is Uncle Shannon Sharpe. I love Uncle Shannon. I respect Uncle Shannon. And when you read the lawsuit, you'll find out this is kind of much of nothing. It's clear the female feelings was hurt. A while back, we had a situation where a video where Shannon Sharpe was having sex on Instagram, and this female was upset about that, and from then on, she had a plan. He released texts. She was asking for things, asking for money, asking for the deed, asking to have a baby with the dude. So this is a money grab. I normally stay away from these, but this is Uncle Shannon Sharpe. Let's get a little bit of info.
Welcome to another episode of Club Shay Shay.
This is the Shannon Sharpe regularly seen by millions of fans.
4 seed, mustard seed, poppy seed. Lakers in 5.
But tonight, an unnamed woman is accusing the sports legend turned media titan of using his celebrity to manipulate, control, subjugate, and violate women. In a civil lawsuit filed in Nevada on Sunday, lawyers for plaintiff Jane Doe detail what they describe as a rocky consensual relationship that lasted nearly 2 years. They allege last fall, Sharpe, who is more than 30 years older than Jane Doe, violently sexually assaulted and anally raped plaintiff 2 different times in Las Vegas, Nevada, blatantly ignoring her requests for him to stop. He did it again in January, during an incident in which plaintiff cried and begged repeatedly for him to stop. The lawsuit also accuses Sharpe of secretly recording their sexual encounters without her consent.
Shannon Sharpe leading the run.
Sharpe is an NFL legend, a 3-time Super Bowl winner and Hall of Famer, who then turned a broadcasting career into a wildly popular podcasting empire.
We gotta go places that no one else has been.
I sat down with Sharpe to talk about his success in January, just days after one of the alleged rapes occurred.
You sat down in January and discussed things with Shannon Sharpe, but you stabbing him in the back today with your news report. Yep, that part.
According to the new lawsuit.
In order to grow, you have to be able to expand.
After the lawsuit's filing, Sharpe was back on the air on ESPN this morning.
LeBron's gonna have to be efficient. Austin Reed's gonna have to be efficient.
This is not the first time Sharpe has been caught up in controversy. In September, he admitted to accidentally live streaming a sexual encounter.
My phone wasn't hacked. It wasn't a prank. It was me being a healthy, active male.
Jane Doe's attorneys say that incident humiliated her, adding he had repeatedly assured her they were in an exclusive relationship, albeit.
So there you have it. He humiliated her. She thought she was in a relationship with him, and now she's going to get even.
Unhealthy and abusive. This was a lie that not only hurt her emotionally, it made her fear for her sexual health and the risk of sexually transmitted disease, according to the lawsuit. Tonight, Sharpe's attorney says the former football star categorically denies all allegations of coercion or misconduct, especially the gross lie of rape. Sharpe's attorney also accusing Jane Doe of trying to shake down Sharpe. His attorney also releasing a series of graphic text messages he says were sent by the plaintiff, which Sharpe's attorney says proved this was a consensual adult relationship that included role-playing, sexual language, and fantasy scenarios explicitly requested by Jane Doe.
So,
Came from mom and working for.
Shorty was running around. And let's get into some of her texts. This is some of her texts right here. Statement by Lenny J. Davis, counsel to, I want you to put a dog collar around my neck and choke me with it while you're fucking me. Gabrielle Zungrea in text messages to Shannon Sharpe, October 7th, 2023. I know you miss this big juicy ass, $25K for each cheek. So she telling him if he want to hit it, she need $25K for each cheek. The lawsuit filed by Gabrielle Zungrea and orchestrated by attorney Tony Busby. We all know who Tony Busby is, the same dude that's having an issue with Jay-Z, and Jay-Z is suing him. So how is he able to be out here still filing lawsuits where he's banned in New York, can't do no cases in New York? So now he's in Nevada filing lawsuits because he can't practice in certain states. Here's more messages. Only if you put the baby gravy in me, then I can do whatever I want to. Then I can do whatever I want to me. Text from Gabrielle Zungrea. Just I want to put my tongue in your asshole and then marry you. Text from Gabrielle. Just that's my daddy. Fuck. I want you to put a big black baby in me. You better crave it, cause you're gonna be stuck with it for life after you put a big black baby in me. Why the baby gotta be big and black? These messages are just samples of broader pattern of graphic sexual communication initiated by Miss Zungrea. Yeah, so those are a few text messages from the chick. The chick was asking the nigga for the shit. But let's get over here, and this is the lawsuit. Let's start, a woman can say yes to consensual sexual relationships with the majority, 99 times. Defendant Shannon Sharpe is 56-year-old former NFL superstar. He claims to be one of the most successful sports media personalities in the country. Plaintiff is a young woman in her early 20s in 2023. Plaintiff was working out of a gym in Los Angeles, California when Shannon Sharpe approached her for the first time. Previously, Doe had noticed Sharpe watching her doing workouts. At this time, Doe was just 19-year-old. At the time, she did not know who he was, only that he was another older man Googling at her in a gym. Doe could tell Sharpe was much older than her. She found him physically intimidated. Eventually, he introduced himself. At this determined instant, she gave him her number. Okay, he was physically intimidating. You claiming you didn't know who he was, but you gave him your number. Bullshit. This was a play from the very start. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. This was a play from the very start, because if he was physically intimidating to you, why would you give him your number? Because you knew exactly what you had. You had a rich old nigga, and you was gonna fuck and suck and to get what you want. And then once the gravy train stopped, you had another play. At the time, she did not know who he was. Only another. Over the next couple of weeks, Sharp incessantly pursued plaintiff. He consistently approached her at the gym and attempted to contact her frequently with phone calls and text messages, asking to meet up. Unwilling to take no for an answer, eventually plaintiff gave in and agreed to meet with Shannon outside of the gym. However, before doing so, Shannon Sharp demanded that Doe sign a non-disclosure agreement or NDA, something plaintiff found a bit concerning. Why is that concerning? Because he was trying to protect from this. He knew young thoughts like you get a little D, find out who he is, and then you want some bread. She wondered why Sharp was so insistent on her signing the NDA. She refused. Despite his reported efforts to get her to sign, she refused time and time again. Eventually, he dropped the issue and invited her to his house. That was his fault. What followed was the beginning of a rocky, consensual relationship that lasted nearly 2 years. The relationship was very unequal. Sharp is more than 30 years old, is considerably wealthier, is physically much larger, and extraordinarily stronger. Sharp is famous and has power. Okay? What does that mean? You don't have to go to his house. You keep going to his house. Stop it. Plaintiff and Sharp saw each other on the terms and on his schedule as often as 4 times a week. Over time, Plaintiff began to see Sharp's true nature. She found him to be dishonest about his whereabouts. So what? He a grown-ass man and you a kid. He would lie about seeing other women while insisting to her that she and he were exclusive. He often manipulated her, at times being sweet and loving to get what he wanted, and at other times being angry and aggressive to achieve his goals. She discovered over time that Sharp was extremely emotional and possessed an uncontrollable temper. He displayed the characteristics of a true narcissist. He wielded his power and his influence and his celebrities to control plaintiff and get exactly what he wanted whenever he wanted whatever he wanted, all the while jealousy guarding what he considered his for himself. So she said he used his power and fame to control her. Why? Who are you? You just pussy, shorty. He didn't need to use no power and fame, and you didn't know who he was. Remember? You didn't know who he was. You just thought he was some old guy. So basically, shorty, you full of shit. He used his power and position. No, he didn't. You knew who he was. You knew he had a bag. You knew he was big money. And you was trying to be with him and up under him. And you wanted him to knock you up so you can get some child support. Stop it. By October 2024, Sharp's behavior had grown progressively worse beyond anything plaintiff had experienced with him before. At this point, he was insisted upon recording their sexual activities, sometimes without her knowledge. Sharp was also sharing the videos with others without her permission or knowledge. Sharp would repeatedly tell Doe that he wanted to do her things that would make no other man want her. By this point, Sharp was no longer able to credibly maintain that the relationship was exclusive. He had at this point accidentally or purposely to advance his career went live on Instagram while having sex with another woman. So, we know. That's why I don't know why some of these lawsuits are allowed. She's putting right here, I was jealous. I was pissed off. I thought I was the only one. So why would anyone believe this lawsuit? She was jealous. She was pissed off. She thought she was the only one. But Shannon Sharpe knocking many teens down. He knocking them down. He loves sticking his wiener in the teener.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
He had at this point accidentally or purposely to advance his career, went live on Instagram while having sex with another woman. Sharp flew into fits of anger when plaintiff noted his infidelity to their relationship or called him out about his extraneous activities. What had once been manipulation, control, and intimidation now became something far more dangerous and sinister. Sharp even figured out how to get into Doe's apartment complex without her permission. Sharp made it clear that what Doe wanted was of no moment, that Sharp would get what he wanted when he wanted it. In October 24, Shannon Sharpe violently sexually assaulted and anally raped Pamela 2 different times in Las Vegas, Nevada, blatantly ignoring her request for him to stop. He did it again in January. Now, I must let y'all know, this the same goofy-ass lawyer, Busby, that's been suing everybody, and he in hot water with Jay-Z. He can't do no cases in New York, so now he down in Nevada picking on Shannon Sharpe. Plaintiff left Nevada to temporarily escape the finish Shannon Sharpe. She now seeks justice through this action and other means. Plaintiff seeks compensatory and punitive damage in this matter in excess of $50 million. Stop it. Why do we do this? We know her name because Shannon Sharpe posted Texas. So I hope she can't go to work. I hope ain't none of her friends fucking with her. I hope ain't none of her family fucking with her, because this some shiesty, shady shit. You was fucking and sucking that old man. Soon as you found out he had some other pussy, you put a plan together. Plaintiff Jane Doe is an individual residing in Clark County, Nevada. Defendant Shannon Sharpe is an individual residing in Clark County, Nevada. He may be served at his residence at 2760 Tago Pang Circle, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89117, or wherever he may be found. Both defendant and plaintiffs reside here. The relief requested is within the minimum judicial limits of this court, pursuant to Nevada law. Venue is proper in Clark County, Nevada. This is the county where defendant resides, and the acts, events, transactions, and admissions that form the basis of a lawsuit occurred in whole or in part in Clark County. Factual allegations related to all claims. Defendant Shannon Sharpe is former. We read that. Upon retirement, he transitioned into sports broadcasting. We know all this. Sharpe's legacy extends beyond the field and media, and in one glaring area, it is not good. Sharpe has a documented history of abusing and mistreating women. As an example, he is currently a defendant in a lawsuit before the Supreme Court of New York facing claims from a woman of intentionally infliction of emotional distress among other allegations. Many of the factual allegations in the New York case are eerily similar to his actions toward plaintiff here. According to New York lawsuit, Sharpe forcibly subdued the plaintiff in that case, forcing her to her knees and subjecting her to non-consensual oral sex despite her repeated protests. When she resisted, he persisted. Let's go here. Let's do this. I'm looking for the New York case. See, this is another case where he's being sued by a woman. I don't know. When she resisted, he persisted. He would not take no for an answer. According to the New York lawsuit, the plaintiff therefore feared for her safety, just as plaintiff feared for her safety now. The New York lawsuit further alleges that Sharpe escalated to non-consensual vaginal penetration, all while telling her that he would make it so no other man wanted her. The words are apparently not a one-time thing, plaintiff too has heard Sharpe say those exact words. Of course, you a lawyer. You went and looked at that lawsuit, so you worded your lawsuit the same as that. But we not buying it. In September 2024, Sharpe live streamed himself on accident having sex with a woman upon information and belief he did so on purpose to seek media exposed and to attract social media views and attention. To live stream himself, he would have had to deliberately swipe right on Instagram to activate the live feed. Sharpe claims it was accidental. However, discreetly recording sex without his partner's knowledge is something he is known to do. He did so with the plaintiff. Plaintiff discovered that Sharpe had been secretly recording their sexual encounters without her consent. When she confronted him, he summarily dismissed her concerns, claiming the videos were for his own personal use. That, too, was a lie. Upon information and belief, Sharpe on multiple occasions shared the videos with his friends in the associates. At one point, he even forced plaintiff to have sex with him while FaceTiming one of his childhood friends named Bucket. Whenever plaintiff would get up the courage to object to Sharpe's outrageous conduct, which was not often, he would aggressively and angrily put her back in her place. So she's saying that he was FaceTiming people while he would be having sex with her. I don't believe that shit. That shit sounds dumb as hell. And how do you know he was showing other people? You got witnesses that's gonna come to court and say, yeah, he showed me the video? Or are you just assuming? Shannon Sharpe isn't just a sports icon. He is something far worse. He's a flawed, narcissist individual who has spent years using his fame, power, and influence to manipulate, control, and subjugate and violate women. With this suit, plaintiff intends to put an end to his egregious conduct. Sharpe first met plaintiff at a Los Angeles gym early in 2023. Sharpe would deliberately watch Doe in such a way to make sure she knew he was watching her. One day, as plaintiff finished a set and turned around, she found Sharpe standing inches behind. Sharpe told her he had noticed her at the gym and wondered why she had not introduced herself. This was the first time they spoke. Plaintiff at the time, who had just turned 20 years old, was caught off guard and was face to face with a 44-year-old man she had never met. Plaintiff did not know at the time who Shannon Sharpe was. She did not know what to say nor how to feel about his advances. During their first conversation, Sharpe proposed a challenge, a competition to see who could lean out faster. The prize, if plaintiff won, he would buy her fake ticks. Plaintiff was stunned. The implication that she needed or wanted such thing was wildly inappropriate. Hearing it from a stranger more than 30 years her senior made it even more disturbing. Throughout her subsequent encounters at the gym, Sharpe made sure plaintiff understood who he was, celebrity and TV personality. Over the following week, Sharpe made himself unavoidable. He was at the gym when she was. He constantly called and texted the man and she come to his Beverly Glen mansion. Plaintiff reportedly declined and made up excuses to make her seem too busy to see him, but he wouldn't stop. Sharpe would not deter. Eventually, plaintiff gave in. See, this doesn't make sense. This where you can tell she lying. This where you can tell the lawyer wrote up the case. So if a dude keep calling you and you don't want to get up with him, why not block the number? Why not stop responding? Why not stop answering the text? Why not go to another gym? Why not call the police and say he harassing you? This bitch, I'm going to say it again, this funky ass crotch bitch is lying. That's why. Eventually, plaintiff gave in, but before she could meet him outside of the gym, Sharpe made another demand. She had to sign a non-disclosure, an NDA. He refused to explain why and would not let her see a copy of the proposed agreement. He simply insisted she sign. Plaintiff refused. After multiple attempts, when he realized she would not cooperate, he finally dropped the issue. Here's where niggas think what they did. If a female wouldn't sign, I'm not sticking my dick in her. Simple as that. Because she has a plan. She has a motive. Grown folks got in her ear and said, girl, that's Shannon Sharpe, girl. You don't sign nothing and get pregnant by the nigga. Let the nigga knock your little young ass up. Revealed from the start the violent, aggressive, and controlling nature of Shannon Sharpe. The first night plaintiff went to Sharpe's house, the experience was unlike any other she has dealt with before. Disturbing, unsettling, and giving its subsequent conduct very illuminating. When plaintiff arrived at his house, Sharpe opened the door to his Beverly Hills Glen mansions without a word, no greeting, no acknowledgement, no small talk. Without so much as looking at plaintiff, he simply turned away from her after opening the door and walked upstairs. Plaintiff hesitated, but as far as she did not know what else to do or where else to go. Is it not how everybody answer their fucking door? They open it and they go back in and you come in. I'm inviting you in. Like, come on. This shit doesn't even make any fucking sense. When they reached the bedroom, Sharpe pointed to the bed before disappearing into the bathroom and shutting the door behind him. He still had not said a word. Plaintiff sat on the bed, waiting, unsure what to expect or if she should leave. Why you didn't leave if you were so comfortable? Uncomfortable. Because you knew what you was doing. You had a play. Roughly 5 minutes later, he finally emerged, but still he said nothing. Instead, he turned off all the lights and lay down on his bed. Plaintiff, uncomfortably unsure what to do, laid down as well. So you laid down with a nigga, he didn't tell you to lay down. You did everything on your own. You write your own words. He didn't even talk to me. So you laid down next to him. He didn't tell you to. You did that. For roughly 10 minutes, there was nothing but silence. Then, without warning, Sharpe placed his hands on plaintiff's neck from behind, pressed his erect penis against her body, and said his first words of the night. I knew from the first time I saw you that I was going to fuck you. Right? So, she laid down. She didn't specify how she laid down, with her back to him, or if she laid on her back, because that's important. Because if she's on her back, how can he grab you from behind? So did you lay up on him and spoon? Doe and Sharpe then engaged in oral sex. As they did so, Doe at some point realized Sharpe was using his phone. He was apparently recording her. Plaintiff could see that he was trying to be discreet, but it was obvious what he was doing. She said nothing, scared to confront him for what he might do or say. So, you go to a dude's house for the first time. He opens the door, doesn't say nothing. You follow. You go into his bedroom, not the living room, not the kitchen. First time going to his house, you go in his bedroom. Those are all decisions and choices you made. You sat on his bed. Another decision you made. He came out, laid down. You laid down. You didn't have to lay down. Your own words. He did not tell you to lay down. He didn't tell you anything. And allegedly, he grabbed you from the back. If you was on your back, how can he grab you from your back? If you was facing him, how can he grab you from the back? You should have put in this lawsuit how you lay down on that bed, because it makes a difference. And then y'all just started having oral sex. And he was using his phone. And when you giving head, bitch, I mean, I don't have head before. You can see everything. All you got to do is look up and you can see if a nigga got his arm extended. So within 5 minutes of going to a man's crib, you sucking his dick. Because you want to. Your own words. He never said a word. You wanted to suck his dick. But it was obviously what he was doing. She said nothing, scared to confront him for what he might do or say. When it ended, he rolled over and went to sleep. At some point later during the night, Sharpe woke up, grabbed plaintiff by her vagina, and began having sex with her. Now, when people use the term grab by the vagina, you can't grab a vagina. You can't grab it. There's no way. I can grab her arm. I can grab a leg. I can grab you by your neck. But how do I grab your vagina? You know what I'm saying? The wording of this doesn't even make sense. But the next morning, woke up at roughly 4 a.m. to shoot a media segment for sports. The next morning, Sharp woke up at roughly 4 a.m. to shoot a media segment for sports television. He woke Plaintiff as well and told her she needed to leave, but he informed her that she had to be back by 9 p.m. exactly. That following night, Plaintiff arrived at Shannon's house at approximately 9:05. So, you went to a guy's house for the first time. Within 5 minutes, you're sucking his dick. You are so uncomfortable. He filmed it. He did this, but you came back at 9 o'clock. You came back the next day. Come on, man. If I don't want to hear no bitches, because that's what you are. If you agree with her, you a bitch. I don't want to hear nobody agreeing with this lady or feeling sympathy for this lady. She didn't have to come back. You sucked this man's dick within 5 minutes of being in his house without him saying a word to you. You came back because you had a plan, bitch. Just 5 minutes past the time he had demanded, the moment he opened the door, the plaintiff experienced his rage for the first time. Sharp immediately launched into a verbal assault. He screamed at plaintiff, berating her for what felt like hours. He accused her of disrespecting him, wasting his time, and warned that if she wanted to be with Shannon Sharpe, she would have to learn obedience. Plaintiff was terrified and feared for her physical safety. Still in range, Sharpe turned off the lights and grabbed her neck, and just like the night before, began to have her sexual intercourse with her. The cycle control, fear, and submission became routine. Yelling at her, controlling her, forcibly grabbing her by the neck when he got upset, saying he was going to kill her, and asserting the dominance became the norm. Once again, I'm sorry, ladies. I'm not buying this shit. You didn't have to go back. If you're not happy with a dude who opened his door, walk you up to his bedroom, lay in the bed, and you sit next to him, and you suck his dick, and you do all these things, and he never said a word, why would you go back? Come on. She had a plan. This bitch was trying to get a bag. Over the next year and a half, Plaintiff saw Sharpe at his house as often as 4 times a week. Sharpe continued to treat her like an object. So she was going to his crib 4 times a week, but we want to believe he raped her. At any point, you could not came back. She want us to believe she was raped when she sucked a man's dick within 5 minutes of it at his house and he never said a word to her. Stop it, folks. If you believe this bullshit, go in the cabinet, take the pills, and you know what to do with them. Not just physically, but emotionally and psychologically. He demanded complete control over her time and body, expecting her to be at his house on his schedule, at his command, whenever he called. The verbal abuse never stopped. He would berate and degrade Plaintiff just as he had from the beginning. One time, specifically, he was yelling at her while there was a firearm visible in the room. Terrified for her safety, Plaintiff tried sharing her locations with friends from her iPhone just in case, but Sharpe saw her doing this. The moment he realized what she was doing, he grabbed her by the neck and told her, if you ever do that again, I will fucking kill you. Well, I don't know if he did that, but if you at my crib and I'm a celebrity and you slamming your location, yeah, that's a fucking problem. That's a motherfucking problem. How I know you ain't calling Rory, Ray Ray, and Pookie to my house to set me up, bitch? Yeah, that's a fucking problem. Sharpe's aggressiveness and rage continued to escalate to the point that the plaintiff's friends began to fear for her safety. For example, when plaintiff was with her friends, they could hear Sharpe yelling at her over the phone and would ask her if she was safe and if she was okay. In the summer of 2024, plaintiff and Sharpe each moved to Las Vegas for their own reasons. Sharpe liked to say that the plaintiff followed him to Vegas, but that too is a lie. Once in Vegas, Sharpe again insisted the plaintiff sign an NDA. She refused, and again he persisted. But after each resistance, he let it go and continued seeing her multiple times a week. This what happened when dudes think what they did. He was getting that little young pussy. He thought he was the only one fucking that young pussy or ever fucked that pussy, and he wanted to control that pussy. I do believe that part, but I know she had a play. And this is how dumb Shannon Sharpe'S, and I hope Ocho Cinco tell him, like, you a dumb motherfucker. Once she didn't sign, you shouldn't have stuck your dick in that pussy. So you get what you deserve. I don't think you R. Kelly there, but if you lose some money, you deserve it. All the red flags was there. Then in September 2024, Sharp humiliated plaintiff. He live streamed himself having sex with another woman on Instagram for over 1.1 million followers to see. He later made gist of the incident on his podcast Club Shay Shay and show Nightcap, but for plaintiff, it was anything but funny. He had repeatedly assured her that they were an exclusive relationship, albeit unhealthy and abusive. This was a lie that not only hurt her emotionally, it made her fear for her sexual health and risk of sexually transmitted diseases. Now, you little 19-year-old whore, you be fucking all these little niggas in the hood, but now you fear for your safety in getting disease. Stop. You was hurt that you thought you had this old man locked up. You thought you was going to get to the bag. You thought you was going to get to the money. And you found out you was just one of many. And you ran into Busby, and now we got you here suing. At that point, plaintiff began to pull away from Sharp. She stopped answering his phone calls and stopped telling him where she was when he would demand to know. Plaintiff's feeble attempts at freedom and independence further upset Sharp. He began flooding her phone with calls, demanding to know where he was. He called relentlessly multiple times per hour. The harassment became so unbearable, plaintiff frankly began leaving Nevada, determined to cut off communication. Resist his efforts to control her and attempt to reclaim some control over life. It took courage for plaintiff to make this effort. She remained terrified, even though she was thousands of miles away. Sharp simply would not accept independence or freedom of plaintiff in October 2024. Just after plaintiff returned from Europe, Sharp's behavior became more angry and aggressive and now violent. On October 6, 2024, plaintiff was working out of a Nevada gym, following her usual routine. As she worked out, she saw Sharp aggressively approach her. She could tell by his look and the way he moved quickly towards her that he was furious for having been ignored. As soon as he got close, he told her, "Sit the fuck down, or I'm going to kill you." Plaintiff refused. "I don't want to talk to you. You cheated on me." His response was as dismissive and controlling as usual. "You don't have a choice." Sharp demanded that they talk in private. Again, plaintiff told him no. She made it clear she did not want to talk to him, be alone with him, or want him coming to her home, but Sharp didn't care. He never took no for an answer. Sharp forced plaintiff under threat to get into his car and go to her house. So in public, because you wouldn't go in private, or people around, he forced you into the car to go to the house. You didn't yell out, "Yo, I don't want to go with this guy. I don't want to be with this guy." Come on, man. I hope y'all not buying this shit. I don't feel bad for this bitch, not one bit. Once Sharp was inside of her, Primus tried to keep the conversation in the living room, but Sharp refused. He demanded they go to the bedroom. She said no. He didn't listen, nor did he care. Once inside the bedroom, Sharp grabbed her from behind and forcibly repositioned her to perform oral sex. He held her in place and then forced her to begin performing. He began even angrily and said, "You disrespected me so much, I'm going to punish this asshole. I'm going to make it so no man will want you again." Plaintiff at this point was crying and sobbing. Tears streamed down her face as Sharp repositioned her and took her from behind and inserted his penis into her anus as he forcibly, angrily raped her. He said, "Turn around and look at me." Sharp grabbed her head, forcing her to look at as she sobbed. He said at the point, "Look at this. Look at my arm. I got chills. That's how good this is." So, first of all, if a guy is fucking you from behind, I'm sorry, but you can't turn your head and look at him. You can't. Unless you some freak gobbling, googling bitch. You can't turn your head back and look. So that shit doesn't even make sense. It doesn't make sense. It's all lies drawn up by Busby. Shannon Sharp forced herself on the plaintiff and raped her despite her sobbing in agony as it happened. He told her in a moment as she was crying that the experience was so good it was giving him chills. Sharp's behavior demonstrates that he believed plaintiff to be his personal property, possessed and owned by him. He also believed that laws did not apply to him, that he could take what she wanted and that no one could or would stop. He was and is wrong. So, if all these things was happening, the police could have helped her. She's not trying to get him locked up. She's willing to check. I don't respect nobody who don't go to the police but try to get a check. It's all lies. On January 2nd, 2025, Sharp told plaintiff he wanted to see her Sharp assistant and reminded plaintiff that he had a combined Christmas and birthday gift to give her, as he previously promised her a gift. She ultimately allowed him to come over to the apartment. She regrets that decision. Yeah, because you wanted them gifts, bitch. But this nigga you was scared of and done raped you on multiple occasions. Why do you keep going back? Because you had a play and you lying. You letting Busby fuck up your name. Once inside the apartment, Sharp began undressing. Plaintiff firmly stated multiple times that they would not have sex without permission, demanding he wear a condom. So you scared of this dude and you don't want to be with this dude, but you want him to wear a condom and you stop it. She knew that in the past he refused to ever use condoms and believed that her demand would stop him from having sex with her. But although he refused to use a condom, he still insisted on sex. She tried to resist him. She screamed. She had already expressed concerns for her safety, knowing that he had been involved with other women, increasing the risk of transmitting disease. The more she begged, Sharp became more aggressive and made it clear he would not wear a condom. He was going to have his way. Sharp grabbed her, pulling her around and positioned her to perform oral sex, which lasted roughly 2 minutes. Then Sharp repositioned her and roughly forced himself inside her. Plaintiff never stopped demanding and begging to stop or put on the collar. Sharp ignored her. Here's my issue with bitches that say niggas force they dick in their ass. Have you ever try to put a fucking dick in the ass with Vaseline on it? It's still a hard thing to do. So any nigga trying to force his dick in the asshole, to me, just don't make sense. It's dry. It's rough. You're going to scrape up your dick. Like, these bitches make it sound, oh, maybe her ass is wet like a pussy. But these bitches make their ass and make it sound like they ass wet like a pussy, and the nigga can just force his dick in there. That's not happening, folks. Try it. It's not happening. That's how you know these bitches be lying. That's how you know motherfuckers that vote for these cases to win or to proceed ain't never fucked nobody in the ass, because you not just forcing no dick in no ass. Period. As soon as he penetrated her, plaintiff screamed and sobbed. Her cries for help did nothing to stop Sharp. The assault lasted roughly 10 minutes, ended only when Sharp ejaculated inside her. Plaintiff cried and begged repeatedly for him to stop. Plaintiff left Nevada after the assault. Plaintiff brings these courses of actions in this honorable court to recover damages as outlined below. It is imperative that Shannon Sharpe and those like him are held accountable for their actions to prevent them from engaging in further sexual assault and sodomy and harming future victims. Plaintiff hereby incorporates each of the foregoing paragraphs as it fully set forth. Defendant willingly unlawful use threats and physical force on plaintiff. In using willful and unlawful force on plaintiff, defendant Shannon Sharpe intended to cause a harmful and offensive contact. The threats were intended to control plaintiff. The harmful and offensive contact intended by defendant Sharpe in fact occurred. So, as you can see, it's just, a money grab. General damages in the sums of $10 million. Special damages in the sum of $10 million. Punitive damages in the sum of $20 million. Statutory penalties in the sum of excess of $10 million. Declamation is rights set up before. So this is just a money grab, folks. And look, the Busby law firm, the same people that got ran out of New York. Now he's over in Nevada doing the same shit. I don't believe this. I'm not buying it. And like I always say, I present you with the facts. I give you my opinion on those facts. And if you like how I do that, click that like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, click all so you can get notifications every time I drop one of these videos. If you're a supporter of the channel, much love and respect goes out to you. I salute. And if you're one of these haters and you support females doing this type of bullshit after they find out they ain't the only one, cut the shit. That part.